Howdy, howdy. This might be a much better setting to talk about, you know, the 100-mile wilderness and stuff like that, huh? This isn't too bad. So Borestone Mountain, that's close enough. Borestone actually used to be part of the Appalachian Trail. There was a side trail made to it until somebody whose name rhymes with Myron Avery, he wanted it spelled a certain way. As a result, the gentleman who owned Borestone said, "Take your damn trail off my land." It was just as simple as that. I am on Borestone. Oh yeah. Got some flashbacks of the eclipse last year, but I am on Greenwood Overlook. The start of the Greenwood Trail is like right over there. Really stoked to be here. I've been 2 months laid up, and what a wonderful welcome. It's like 50 degrees out. This is just nuts for late March. So we're going to try to make this a more shorter video. It's still going to be about the 100-mile wilderness. I'm not letting you off the hook yet. And I like to start it off with a quote from an actual thru-hiker. And it says, and I'm not making this up, "The 100-mile wilderness is flat. Whatever. This trail is about as flat as my ass. And my ass is quite shapely." So says Hellbender, who hiked in 2006. And she's right. You know, although the 100-mile wilderness is not an official wilderness, it's still as wild as it gets in the East. You know, said Dave Field, "The 100-mile wilderness is a working forest. It's been that way for 100 years. It's wilderness with a lowercase w." Who can't disagree with that? You know, there's no other stretch of the Appalachian Trail quite as remote as this, and you've got to go a long way west before you wind up finding something like this. It truly is one of a kind. So let's dive into some specifics, shall we? Do you go north or south? To wrap that up in a really neat bow, I'm going to just say that neither way is easy. They're both hard. That being said, I've almost always gone southbound. I have gone northbound one time, but that was in sections. I've hiked it southbound, I think, 3 times. One time I didn't start at, I actually started at the northern end of Baxter State Park. But the other 2 times I got all the way down to Monson, and another time I actually got all the way to Bigelow. That was like 180 miles. That was pretty good. Neither way is easy. I mean, the upper part of the 100 is pretty, we'll call it sort of easy going. I'm not going to say anything's easy. Nothing's a given. There's no gimmies in the 100-mile wilderness. Rainbow Ledges is not that big if you're going southbound. But the Suntabun, that can knock you for a loop. And Little Boardman Mountain there's not much there. After you get past the Suntabun, really, that's the real big baddie up there. After that, it's relatively smooth until you hit Whitecap. And that's not a bad thing, because right about then, your trail legs should be kicking in just when you need them most. Conversely, going northbound has its perks. You'll get all the hard stuff out of the way right off the bat. I don't consider Whitecap is taller than the Whitecap Range. Whitecap is taller, than the Barren Chairback Range. It is not as hard as the Barren Chairback Range. The Barren Chairback Range wants to chew you up and spit you out. Let's leave it at that. If you do go northbound, and most people do, probably because they want to summit on Katahdin, when you're going through and you get up and over Whitecap, it's pretty much smooth sailing. You'll be sore. Your legs will definitely be sore. Mine have been sore, but you get down the backside of that and it's going to be pretty much smooth sailing after that. How to get in shape for the 100-mile wilderness. Now, I've got mixed feelings on this because I don't think there's, ultimately, I think if you put one foot in front of the other, that's how you get in shape. You know, the old saying, how do you walk for 20 miles a day for 2 weeks? You hike 20 miles a day for 2 weeks. That's how you get there. And as far as this is concerned, so here's some numbers for you. In 2023, you guys hear those dogs? In 2023, I backpacked 300 miles on the Arizona Trail, and I did it in 22 days. In 2005, I hiked from Springer to Newfound Gap in the Smokies. That was a 200-mile stretch. I did it also in 22 days. It's like a statistical anomaly. You'd think it would be worse for Arizona, but actually I hiked another 100 miles in Arizona and I still wound up, getting in shape isn't bad though. And another thing, you know, if you can put some work into it, definitely do it. The other thing you should consider is getting your gear in shape. There's a lot of bells and whistles associated with your gear, whether it's a filter, whether it's your stove, whether it's your mattress or your tent, or God forbid your hammock. I won't touch. You won't ever see me in a hammock. But you got to get acclimated to that stuff before you really get out there. You don't want to be like me. Like one of my first hikes in the 100-mile wilderness, I had a stove that I didn't know how to work. I'm like 22 at the time, so I thought I was Mr. Hiker, and I definitely wasn't. And knowing trail conditions are half the battle also. If you can, check out hiking forums on, say, even Facebook. Maine hiking is a great resource. It's on Facebook. Also, what's out there? The Maine Appalachian Trail Club. They're out there. Yeah, you can fill them a line. They'll get back to you pretty quickly. I think I just had a flyby by a very large bird. All right, we're not going to get into safety tips because these are basically covered under the 10 essentials. The one thing that they don't mention in the 10 essentials, which is put out, I should know this. I'll put it in the video somewhere. The 10 essentials, there should be there should be an 11th essential, and that would be tick spray. And actually, you can get mosquito and tick spray kind of in the same package, and that's really going to help you out. After that, the one thing I would really harp on is first aid kits. They're great, but you don't need to get everything there. It's going to be really heavy in your pack if you get like anything bigger than, say, a baseball. It's just too much, and even that baseball sized one, that's going to be too much. I'll bring large band-aids, a dozen or so ibuprofen, lip balm. Some people use moleskin. I prefer new skin. They work completely differently, but they get the job done. And also, okay, so on that, the one big thing that you should bring out of that big gaumy triage of a first aid kit is the first aid kit manual itself. There can literally be life-saving advice in there. Daily mileage. Hike your own hike. You do you. Don't worry about other people. Some people are turtles, other people are hares. I fall somewhere in the middle, so don't worry about that. The most mileage I've done in the 100-mile wilderness is 18, and I believe that was from Pottywajo Spring Lean-To all the way to East Branch Lean-To. Pretty sure on that. I think I've done a few. I know I've done a couple of 15-mile days, and some of those I could have gone further, but I would start at Abol Bridge. I would end at Rainbow Lean-To. Just, it's a hell of a spot. And unless you have a deadline, plan a rain day. You might be able to, spread your wings a little bit. Check out other stuff off trail that, ordinarily wouldn't see. Say, Tumble Down Dick Falls. It's only 0.6 off the AT. It's not gonna break your. It's not gonna break you. Creatures. My dad told me once of a hiker that came into Carl A. Newhall Lean-To. So that's up on the side of the Whitecap Range. It's on Gulf Haggis Mountain. So these guys are already, it's hiker midnight. It's dark. Everybody's trying to get to sleep, which shouldn't be hard if you've just put in 15 miles. And all of a sudden, another hiker comes in, and walking around and stomping and doing this, that, and the other. And eventually, one of the guys, he gets his headlamp on, and he's like, it was a bear. It was a big old black bear. So what do? Obviously, these guys lived. Let's start there. These guys lived, obviously, because they told the tale to my dad. What you shouldn't do is run away and leave all your food there, because it's going to make a hassle for the next people. What I can tell you is, without doubt, somebody went there a few days before and they probably had a pizza. I mean, the Katahdin Ironworks Road is probably less than 10 miles away. And they went there and they grabbed a bunch of grub, and they went up there and they ate it, and Crumbs did what they did, and the red squirrels tried their best to eat those all up, but in the end there was just too much of a scent. The bear had been acclimated to that. I guarantee you that wasn't the first time that bear was in that lean-to. And lean-tos tend to not be that bad. I like lean-to. I'll hike the whole wilderness, go from lean-to to lean-to to lean-to to lean-to, no problem. But I like my tent. I got a Lanchin too. It's a trekking pole tent. I don't have to lug trekking poles, and I could see my next journey in the 100-mile wilderness. So I'm going to be bringing that along. I've already done it on the Arizona Trail. As far as moose are concerned, where did this wind come from, man? That's not cool. I mean, it is cool, but it's dying down. Just simmer down. Simmer down. It's not going to do it. So, as far as moose are easy for me to say. As far as moose are concerned, in the summertime, moms and calves are going to be really, mom is going to be really angst ridden, while the bulls not so much. But that switches in the fall. In the fall, mom's going to have a lot more leeway with the calf is given more leeway, and the bulls are trying to get every moose they can pregnant. So you don't want to get in their way. You won't like them when they're angry. Oh, and coyotes. I remember once being on a section hike, and I was almost at Cooper Brook Lean-To, and I didn't go there specifically because somebody on the trail told me that there was a guy sick there. And I'm like, okay, I'll just cowboy camp on the side of the trail, no big deal. And then all of a sudden, they just started yipping. The second it got dark out, they just started yipping. And I had my dog with me, and I'm like, this is probably not safe. So I went to the lean-to. Mama didn't raise no fool. But the thing is, the next night at Wadley Stream lean-to, there was a whole bunch of them there again. And I was probably too damn tired to move. I just laid in there, and I can tell you one thing, yelling at coyotes ain't gonna do squat. But as bad as it all is, ticks take the cake, and it isn't even close. So if you have any of these baddies out there, first off, squish it, okay? After that, okay, so wear long sleeve shirts and long pants. Tuck your pants into your socks. Looks kind of goofy, but you know, you can compromise by spraying your legs with tick and mosquito spray. Products such as permethrin is meant to be applied to clothing and not your skin. The same with 100% DEET. That would be bad. Check yourself on trail and, you know, at your campsite at night for ticks. The AT is always white blazed, but blue blazes have either they're a side trail or they're an intersecting trail, like say the Great Circle Trail way up by Rainbow Stream. The other two, so there's two more. You got yellow blazes. That designates the trail property, the Appalachian Trail corridor. And the last one, do you think you know what it is? It is called rock cairns, which are probably already blazed, but they don't get blazed nearly as often as actual trees do. I can see a blaze on that tree right over there. Rock cairns are usually there because, say, you know, trees, maybe not the ones behind me, but most trees, like really small shrubs, are too small to actually paint a blaze on, and whether it's white or blue. Yeah, you'll usually see those on the barren chairback range, in some open spots, certainly on Whitecap, and most definitely on Katahdin if you're heading that way. Emma Gatewood, you may know her as Grandma Gatewood. She got turned around on her first attempt to hike the AT. She was going southbound. After 2 days lost and waiting for someone to come get her, she got off her bum, and within like 2.5 hours, she was back at Rainbow Lake Camps. You really, 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 I'm trying to talk over the wind now. You know, survival experts will tell you to stay put, and that's good in the short term. Come day 2, you got to get out of there. You know what happens if you don't. As far as that is concerned, you know, survival experts and stuff like that, eventually you got to get moving. Leave an itinerary with people back home. You know, something that's detailing where you're expecting to be. Make sure they know that sometimes mileage might get more, or you hear that there's trail magic, you know, 10 miles, or I don't know if I go 10 miles to go for trail magic. No. But yeah, it's 10 miles for trail magic. No, I'll just go eat at, I'll just go find a Big Mac. Thank you very much. No, but say if it's like a quarter of a mile off trail and there's this big, you know, trail magic thing going on, yeah, I'll go to that, and that'll definitely kill your mileage for that day. So tell them to be, you know, plan a rain day basically, at least, so you can text people. As far as texting or calling in the upper end of the 100-mile wilderness, From Namakan to the Cooper Brook, all's going to be well. Whitecap is, even if you're on the summit of Whitecap, it's hit and miss. Chairback to Monson's usually pretty okay. The northern end, say north of Namakan Lake, that's not really a good, it's not exactly a hotbed for Wi-Fi. So you probably won't reach, phone service until you get almost into Millinocket if you're getting picked up and heading out that way. Hunger. Bring what you like. Man, I could give you some suggestions. I'm sure you got your own suggestions. Good to go meals are awesome. Mountain House is awesome. But beyond that, Tabasco sauce. You want to make some friends in a fast way? Bring some Tabasco sauce. Maybe put it like in a little small plastic vial. I don't think you want to be lugging around something about yay big made of glass. So find like a little small squeezy tube. Knorr meals, Knorr. Those meals, those are awesome. Ramen or ramen. How do you pronounce that? Ramen noodles, or ramen noodles as I like to call them. You can doctor those things and you can make some awesome stuff with it. Gorp means good old raisins and peanuts. I don't just have raisins and peanuts in mine. I have everything from crushed Oreos. Oh God, what else? Oh God, honey roasted peanuts or honey roasted cashews. Reese's Pieces. I got a sweet tooth. Can you tell? But I like savory, so sometimes I'll have a Gorp thing over here, but over here I'll have savory. What I mean by that is like Bugles or Cheez-Its, maybe crushed potato chips. Just go in there with your spoon and just, saves a lot of weight in your pack. Also, there's always jerky, summer sausage, sardines. And here's the catch. So let's say you do want to, most people don't, but if you do want sardines and you're worried about the stench, when you're at your tent site or the campsite, lean-to, whatever, take that out, which would probably be a good time to eat those things, and then just set the container in the fire. Do not leave it there. If you think I'm letting you off the hook on littering, you got another thing coming, buddy. Ma'am, miss, person, whatever you are. But that'll definitely kill the smell. At the end of the day, that's definitely going to kill the smell. Maybe not of you personally, but at least the sardines is not going to be an issue. Yeah, Fords. Let's talk about Fords real quick. It's going to sound kind of weird, but I don't really like them. I don't think anybody likes them, but I don't like it because I'm usually, making good miles and everything like that. I'm in the mood. I'm in the zone, everything like that. And all of a sudden, I got to stop everything. It comes to a screeching halt because I have to, ford this silly river. So, if the water is knee high and it's swiftly flowing, find another way around. That's the long and short of it. If you absolutely must cross, go at the widest spot possible because narrow spots are deeper, generally. Any gear that might get caught in the current, say loose straps, dangling gear, needs to be removed and tightened up, with the exception being sternum straps and your buckles for your pack. Those need to be loosened. Trust me, you do not want to go down with that ship. If the water's cold, going barefoot would be a really bad idea. Grim up, put the boots on, and walk across. There's going to be mud out there in the wilderness anyway. There's no way you're going to completely escape, you know, dry footwear. It's just, you're not going to do it. It's pretty much impossible. Okay, so creature and comforts, we talked about that. We talked about staying found. Hunger hacks, yeah. And as far as rivers go, the worst offenders are Big Wilson Stream, Long Pond Stream, and the West Branch of the Pleasant River. You know it's heavy duty when they throw the word river in there. So those are the big ones. I mean, if it really rains, the East Branch is going to start getting boisterous. Rainbow Stream can get boisterous. You, thank goodness, you never have to worry about Namacana Stream because the trail falls alongside it. So that's not a bad thing. And as far as stretching your legs and getting out and seeing different stuff, there's some really great side trails out there. Number one, as far as tent sites go, let's start there. The number one would be Rainbow Dam Campsite. You've got this humongoid lake going off on your right, and at the far end is Katahdin. There goes a bird. I would also say Cloud Pond Lean-To. That one might not be, that would be second place. Although it's more remote. Also, technically, Rainbow Dam Campsite is not on the Appalachian Trail. Barren Slide is a feast for the eyes. The problem with that is that there could be nesting peregrine falcons. There have been in the last few years. You could, now you really want a lush experience, you could possibly land a spot at either Gorman Chairback, you'd want to call ahead, weigh it like a day ahead, or White House Landing. And they have hamburgers. And who could say no to that? There you have it, guys and gals and non-binary pals. I think that was a lot shorter than what I did earlier today. Oh boy. Well, and now of course the wind's died down. Hopefully you heard most of what I said. I may have to add in other stuff from the original footage, but I'm just gonna go celebrate a day of hiking because I've been laid up for 2 months and I ain't done diddly. Thank you for watching. Like the button and subscribe on the other button. Takes 2 seconds. And man, don't look at me. Go look at that view. I'll get a couple other views along the way. Don't worry. But thank you very much for watching.